Hello Milky friends, it is Milkstew here with you for another Idle Heroes video. How are you? I hope you've had a fabulous week. It is Chinese Valentine's Day, otherwise known as the TC event, which literally translates to, I actually don't know what C stands for, but T is the number 7, so it's like 7 something. Anyway, it's the Chinese Valentine's Day event. Let's just call it that, TC. And that's the reason why when you look at this Magpie bridge, there's a guy and a girl because of the whole Valentine's Day thing. So if you have a Chinese girlfriend, you should have bought her flowers. If you haven't done it, then you should probably go away and do it. And if you need an event just to go out and spoil your girl and not spend on Idle Heroes packs, this is the perfect event to do it. I can say that stuff because I am not sponsored by Idle Heroes, so you do not need to spend your money on this game. You can absolutely spend it on other things, and you should spend it on other things. So this week, obviously, this TC special event is the big thing and what we're here to talk about, and I'm going to talk through the value behind it, and it's not necessarily that straightforward. But apart from that, the event this week is just the standard wishing coins, as well as the campaign event, which what's there to talk through? Maybe let's talk through that first. So Ormus's workshop, that hasn't changed from last week. We have now seen all the artifacts, all the pay-to-win artifacts you can upgrade. They might introduce more new pay-to-win artifacts, but it is unlikely because it'll take forever just to even get 1 to 2 pay-to-win artifacts. Obviously, some of the Mega Whales now have the splendid versions of a number of artifacts, and that's ultimately the end game for artifacts. I suspect that once everyone has a Radiant version or of like an AMB and a torch and whatever else they want, that they're probably going to introduce new artifacts. But for the time being, the name of the game is to get as many pay-to-win artifacts as possible, as it always has been. Although up until a point in time, I had all the pay-to-win artifacts I ever needed. When they updated this, I found myself needing more pay-to-win artifacts. Glorious Boost, so there's another week's worth of this, so if you haven't snagged out whatever it is that you want, there's a good chance to get it. Ooh, can you get the Augustus Magic Ball again? Because I already got it once. I don't understand. Exchange. No, yeah. I thought they had reset it, and you could get another Augustus Magic Ball, but you can't. So I have 649 feathers. I'm kind of holding out for a torch when they do this again, or even a crown. I don't really need another demon bell. I've got like 6 of these. I could do it with the antlers, but that's not really priority right now. Not until I see what the new Void PvE is and what that entails and whether or not that counts. Because really, the only place where you can use upgraded antlers and it actually counts and it's valuable is generally for PvE. So I want to buy it, but I don't have a need for it right now until I see the new Void, the new faction, etc. In terms of the value packages, like I said, I'll go over the value analysis. The complexity with the analysis is that these wishing coins and the campaign currency, the biscuits for this week, the complexity is they have an incremental value this week. Simply because of the special TC event that's on. You get more stuff by having more biscuits, and you get more stuff by doing a certain number of loops with the wishing coins. And it's hard to tell you what that extra value is. I know you wanted like definitive answer, like, well, Milks will just tell me how much each wishing coin is worth this week. I can't conclusively tell you. It's not that easy. You have to do the incremental analysis that I taught you when we last talked about Imps Monopoly and what exactly incremental analysis was. And it'll become clear why if you haven't already sort of clued onto it. So this stuff, in the absence of the TC event, the wishing coins, those packages, they aren't that great, right? So the $100 package, if we look at the spreadsheet and link down below, the $100 package typically only gets you 190 gems per dollar spent, right? So this package here, this top tier package, this $100 package, typically what you get in return is $190, well, 190 gems for every dollar spent. And that's terrible because the average that we are always looking out for when we buy stuff, it's about 354 gems or 350 gems per dollar spent that we're looking for in terms of value. But out of all the value packs that you could buy, be it the orbs or the $100 scroll packages, it's probably the worst if they didn't have special events like this on. But with the special event on, like I said, these coins and this biscuit has incremental value, and you're gonna have to value it on an incremental basis. We got an LVS shop, so that the biscuits are obviously the special currency for this week, and the top prize is the crown. No surprises there. But what's really nice, and what they've changed, and it kind of makes things a bit more interesting, is now the light dark hero is just no longer a set light dark hero. It's basically this chest, and you can pick any light dark hero, which I think is a nice, it's a good flexibility that they've introduced without incremental costs, because optionality in finance or in the real world costs money, right? The fact that they've made this more flexible, they should have technically increased the price, but because I suspect that no one was buying the 3,100 level prize or the 2,700 level prize, I suspect they didn't bother to increase the price because, well, no one was buying it. I might as well just give them more flexibility to try and entice them to buy more. So now 2,700, you can pick any hero you want, not every non-light dark hero you want, and then 3,100, you can pick any light dark hero you want. The skin, no one's gonna buy it because no one uses Das Moog. And you can fuse it from 5 normal basic yellow bordered skins because it's not event limited. I suspect no one is going to, well, I could be wrong. Most people, you're all going to get somewhere between 3,300 and 2,500 biscuits when all is done and told, right? And most of us are going to buy orbs with it, or scrolls being the second choice. I doubt anyone's going to buy a penny, but that's the reality. The question really everyone this week has is obviously, well, given that I end up with 2,400 scrolls or 2,400 biscuits, how do I then get more biscuits? Do I buy packs? Do I buy this thing to basically hit these different biscuit thresholds to get these different prizes? And we're going to talk through whether or not you should buy it or not, right? So, why am I going to Come Black Radio? So then we go back to the other bits of the event this week. So it's a wishing coin event this week on top of the gem shop. Sorry, the campaign. So LVS shop is the campaign for this week. The wishing fountain event is obviously the other complicating factor this week. Like most people usually do like one loop. Well, when I say one loop, only do up to 100 wishing coins because no one really saves wishing coins or buys them from Adventure for gems. Like most people buy wishing coins for gold from Aspen Dungeon, but no one actually actively buys wishing coins from, say, the Aspen Dungeon for gems or from the merchant on Adventure Island. Having said that, I know I'm going to get like 67,000 comments on no, Milk, so I actually buy wishing coins all the time using gems from those places that you described. Well, great. Because I up until I think a month ago, I never used to buy wishing coins. I just thought wishing coins were just such terrible value. But then my Russian friend, ZZZZ, or ZZZZ if you're American. No, ZZZZ is what the English say. ZZZ is what the Americans say. You know who you are. So that individual basically brought some analysis of wishing coins to my attention. And it turns out we should absolutely be buying wishing coins if they are less than 25 gems per wishing coin. There's some pretty complex math involved, and I was supposed to do a video on it, but the reason why I didn't do a video on it is because it's not that easy to explain. I mean, it is, but it's long and involved, and I know, like, literally no one's going to watch it. So if you believe in value, and you trust the way I value things, and you believe in the values I've used in terms of, you know, food is worth 400 gems, a limited skin from LVS shop is worth 1,875 gems, because when I've converted these biscuits to the equivalent gem value, I've brought it over at the 100 biscuits equals 125 gems, because you can buy these scrolls for 125 gems. Therefore, once you have that 1 to 1.25 ratio, I've managed to convert all these other things. If you believe that logic and the values that I've used, then when I tell you to buy wishing coins, so long as they're less than or equal to 25 gems a piece, do it. And because of doing that, I can do 3 loops of this, and get the rewards. And so scary is like scary is important if you want to finish Abyss Sealand, because it gives the debuff for which Delasium can feed off. But apart from that, it's kind of useless. What you're really wanting to do these loops, and as many as you can, is obviously to build that bridge, because you're getting these Jade Pendants, right? And the only way to get Jade Pendants this week is to do loops and to basically buy everything from the gem box. And so obviously I'm going to buy more gems to buy everything from the gem box, because within these gem boxes you're getting these Jade Pendants. And that's the only way, guys, you can complete this bridge, right? So if you complete everything in this bridge, so obviously everyone, when they do this bridge, they're obviously, if you don't have enough coins and you don't have enough gems to buy everything, then my steer to you is you're probably better just using the pendants to do this first bridge and just ignoring anything up here. I mean, by all means, try and finish as much of this as you can, because for each pendant that you lay down, you get 1,000,000 gold. But in terms of, if I only had enough pendants to do one of these bridges, which one should I pick? Well, firstly, if you have enough to do the light dark one, obviously do the light dark one. But if you don't, then the reality is you're going to try and do as much as you can to get the non-light dark one. And that's just the general steer. But if you're trying to complete both bridges, the reality is you need to buy, and you don't have enough wishing coins, you got to buy one of the value packs, right? And if you don't have enough gems, you got to buy something to get you enough gems to buy you all, so you can buy all the gem boxes. And if you complete both bridges, right? So if you complete both bridges, you're going to get, if we go to the math, there's about 19,000 gems worth of value there. So when you do incremental analysis, right? So say, for example, you had enough money to do, enough wishing coins to do 3 loops, right? And you're asking yourself, well, should I buy enough value packs to do more loops, right? So what's that worth, right? So then if you want to do, say, if you only had enough to do 2 loops, then you basically need about 240 coins, I think, to do 2 loops. Well, an extra loop. You need 240 coins, assuming you have the discount, the 8 for 10 spins. You basically need another 240 coins to do the final loop, in which case you probably need to buy a $100 pack and a $170 pack. And so that's $170 that you need to spend. So then you're probably asking, well, is it worth spending that extra $170? And like I said, you got to do it on an incremental basis. So in terms of, if we do the math, like very quickly, right? The $100 pack and the $70 pack, how many gems of goodies do you get? So you get, if we go back to the other spreadsheet, and this is rough as guts. This is how you do the incremental analysis if you're thinking about it, right? So we get 19,000 worth of gems worth of goodies from the $100 one, and the $12,700 worth of gems from the $70 pack. So as I said before, in the absence of, individually, these packs are just terrible value. But if you're thinking about it as, I got to buy these 2 packs for my final loop, how much does the value change, right? So it's easy. It's basically, the incremental analysis is to the 12,700 plus the 1,900. You basically got to add, let's say it's not 19,000. You get 19,000 from completing the bridge. But the reality is, if you've done 3 loops and you bought all the gems from the gem boxes, right, you would have done one of these bridges. But for argument's sake, look, for argument's sake, let's say you've done the non-light dark bridge. You need to do one more loop in order to be able to get finish the light dark bridge and get the torch, right? Because I think that's what most people are going to do. So then the incremental value from that is 12,250 gems. So then the aggregate number of gems that you get from buying the $170 pack is 43,950. So then the math in terms of whether or not that's good value, how many gems do you get from the $170? So then it goes up to 258, right? So you've gone from like 180 gems per dollar spent to about $258. So that's still not great value, right? So unless you're absolutely needing, I know you're going to go for the torch, right? Without a shadow of doubt, because that's probably the second best artifact you can get right now in terms of upgrading artifacts to the Glittery, the Radiant, blah blah blah, etc. version, right? So I think that's the point, right? They give you these light dark heroes. They give you the torch as a carrot to try and get you to basically buy these more of these value packs. So it's still not there, right? It's 258. Like, you would argue, well, Milk, you also get 1,000 extra biscuits, right? And so 1,000 extra biscuits, if I look at this luckiness area, right? 1,000 biscuits, well, that gets me like 2 levels here. And this is the complication as well. With the biscuits, right? 1,000 extra biscuits, yeah, that's valuable. And you could argue, look, 1,000 biscuits, because I'm going to probably end up with 2,500 biscuits or 2,400 biscuits. Let's, for argument's sake, 1,000 extra biscuits gets you a forest puppet, right? And so then, obviously, onto this number, you've got to add the value of the 1,000 extra biscuits, which is 9-star puppet, so 11,200, right? So then, when you start layering on shit like that, and in terms of incremental analysis, right? So let's assume you're going to end up with 2,400 biscuits, or 2,500 biscuits. You're going to need to buy at least 1 more loop's worth of wishing coins. Should you spend the $170? Line ball, right? You get to 324 gems per dollar in that scenario. Obviously, that the math completely changes if you need to buy 2 loops, or if, for example, you only end up with 2,200 biscuits because you completely fucked up. Because then, theoretically, you're not getting a 9-star puppet. You fucked up, and you're gonna, at the end of it, you're gonna end up with, if you buy the packs, 3,200 biscuits, which means you're 300 short of the 9-star puppet, right? So that's why it's not straightforward. That's why I can't give you this week. I can't specifically say to you, should you buy X amount of packages, right? The only thing I can give you, I guess, a definitive answer to is this Blessing of Magpie's package. And so for the $50, you get 5,000 gems, 400 biscuits. Primarily, I know a lot of you are just going to buy it for the biscuits, and maybe this festival limited Sherlock, right? So guys, again, 3 types of skins if you're new to the game. There's basic skins, which are yellow borders, and then there's limited skins, which have the purple border. But within the purple border sphere, there's 2 kinds of purple limited. There's ones that are festival limited, meaning no matter how many yellow bordered basic skins I fuse, I can never ever get those skins ever again. Like, it's a one and done deal. You'll never be able to get it except for maybe skin swap here. Although I haven't done the skin swap because I don't want to waste gems. I don't know if I swap this purple one, whether or not it becomes a festival limited one, or if it becomes just another limited one, because I don't need any more limited skins. I've fused so many skins that I basically have all the purple ones you can get. What does it say? Ordinary skins can be replaced. Skins not added glorious temple cannot be replaced with except festival skins. Festival skins, and so that second statement, skins not added to glorious temple cannot be replaced with. Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know. Tap the matrix on the left and put in the skin to place, or tap on the right previous skins that can be replaced with. Okay, so this tells me what skins I can get. Yeah, see, these are all limited skins. Just knowing, because I'm a skin expert. So basically, if you try and replace a limited skin for 200 gems, you can only get one of these other limited skins. And for 200 gems, like, I think this was very stupid of them to do it this week, given that you basically need to buy everything from the gem box, the mysterious chest box this week, just to build that damn bridge, right? I don't think anyone is dumb enough to do the skin replacement this week. They just did it at the wrong time. This should not have been. If they wanted people to spend gems on skin this week, you should have been able to replace one of these limited skins for a festival limited skin. Anyway, I digress. The point is, this guy, you cannot get anywhere else except for this point in time. That's it. They're going to introduce it now, and then that's it. Where it says festival limited, it means when that skin is introduced, that is literally probably the only time you'll ever be able to get it over the course of this game. Like, there have been old skins that have been tied to old events for old heroes that I've never seen appear anywhere else, right? And similarly here, the Elvia skin. This is a festival limited skin. You cannot get that skin anywhere else, right? So that's the event for this week, right? So we talked about the Magpie bridge. We talked about the skin replacement. We kind of talked about this through the other stuff. So the more biscuits you get, these other things unlock just automatically as you get more biscuits. Like I said, most of you are going to end up with 2,400 biscuits. So you're going to be 100 short of this limited skin. So then you're probably asking yourself, ooh, should I buy something and get another 100 extra biscuits? Line ball. Or should I, use my universal crystal shards to convert 100 to get this limited skin? This hero isn't that useful. That's the problem, right? If you end up with 2,400 biscuits, which I think the bulk of you will, then the question is, well, should I use my universal crystal shards if I have enough to basically get the crown this week? The answer is definitely yes. Crown is useful. Plus, if you get the crown, you're going to end up with 3,600 biscuits, meaning you're going to be able to snag out the skin, and you're also going to get this 9-star puppet. So if you've been saving up your universal crystal shards for an artifact or anything else, this is the week to use it to get that artifact, because of all the extra rewards that you're going to get from this biscuit event, right? There's no other time to use it. So even if you knew next week there was going to be a torch available or an A and B available, and that is what you need to get to the glittery version or to the next version of the artifact, I would still argue this week, because you get the 9-star puppet, you get the skin, and the crown isn't even that bad, right? It's a must, one of those must-have artifacts, right? I would argue that it's worth it this week to actually spend all your universal crystal shards to get the extra rewards and to get the crown, right? So then if we get into the other stuff, I mean, you're going to have to spend $170 after you get the... assuming you use your universal crystal shards to get the crown, to get the 3,600 biscuits, you're going to have to spend another $200-300 to get all these other, well, more than that, $450-500 to get the 10-star puppet, this chest that gives you any artifact you want, and 200 feathers. So the only thing to keep in mind is if you're trying to work out whether or not you are going to spend on the extra value packs to get the more biscuits, because that's the only way to get more biscuits, right? The value packs and basically this blessing of magpies. If you're trying to work out at the end of the day whether or not you should invest in buying any of those things, so getting this by itself won't necessarily get you any more biscuits. Well, it will get you 400, sorry. It won't necessarily get you to the next tier here. It might. And if you're wondering, well, Milkstew, I've 2,000 universal crystal shards saved up. Should I go that extra distance and go, just use all of it just to get all the way to the end? Potentially, but I would say no. Only because it's just a waste of universal crystal shards. You should be using universal crystal shards just to get artifacts, right? Pay to win artifacts, because they're so fucking hard to get. Even with the extra temptation that they have here. So unless you would have to spend an incremental. Well, where are we at? 3,000. If you use your universal crystal shards and you get to 3,600 to get the crown this week, then you probably have to spend another 1,900 to get to the next level of artifact. So then the question is that worth it? Because you get a 10-star puppet along the way. And usually during a campaign event, you have to spend a minimum of 1,200 universal crystal shards to get just one artifact. And they're asking you now to spend basically close to 2.5 times to get an artifact plus this 10-star puppet. Is it worth it? It's tricky. It's potentially worth it. To be honest, I haven't thought through that far ahead, because there's so few of you that would have saved more than 1,200 universal crystal shards, right? So I'm probably not going to entertain that kind of math, because literally none of you would be there. So let's just leave that to the side. So then the question is, should I buy packs to get this extra stuff? I've showed you how to do the incremental analysis in terms of, if you've done 3 loops, should I buy those packs, right? So I've basically converted all the things you can get with biscuits to the equivalent gem value, and I've sort of told you the gems per biscuit. So at the first threshold, you get a 5-star elite shard, then a 4-star orange. This is new. This is a new chest, 4-star orange equipment, and it was tricky. I basically, to value that piece of equipment, and you only get one, guys. You get a sword, you get a armor plate, a boot, or the lucky charm. You don't get all of them, right? So is that right? To get each piece, open the chest to get each piece of the 4-star orange equipment, sword. Oh no, you get all of them. Is that right? To get each piece of the 4-star orange equipment. Right, you get a full set. That makes it more interesting, because originally how I valued the artifact set was basically, I said, well, to go from 4-star to 5-star. Oh, 4-star, it's only 4-star. You basically, it's hard to value. So the value I have there is wrong. So basically, you're going to get this 4-star kit here, right? This black stuff. And to get those, you got to ask yourself, well, how much gems am I saving in the process from fusing just the stuff below that? And it's hard to say, right? It's hard to put a value on it. So let's just not try and be too smart about this at this point in time. So the second threshold is this, and then the third threshold is the 6-star puppet, and so on and so forth. But as you can see, around the 9 and 10-star puppet mark is where it really starts to explode in terms of gem value per biscuit, right? And then after that, it just drops off. So if you're sort of on the threshold in terms of asking yourself, well, should I spend an extra amount to get basically this 9-star puppet and this 10-star puppet? Use this table of values in terms of what the gems you get per biscuit, and then include the incremental gems per biscuit in your incremental value analysis. So if you're thinking about buying a package here in order to get you to the next threshold, then embedded within like these biscuits is the incremental you get from getting one of these rewards, right? So for example, let's say, I don't know, you do the event and you end up on I don't know, and you've expended your universal crystal shards, and they'll get you to 2,900 biscuits, which is, no, let's say 3,000 biscuits, right? Let's say universal crystal shards, everything that you saved up gets you to 3,000 biscuits, right? So then really you're saying, well, I only need to spend $100 to get another 600 biscuits. Is it worth it? What do those 600 biscuits get me? Well, that incremental 600 biscuits will get you a 9-star puppet. So you got to add onto the value of this pack normally another 11,200 gems, if that makes sense, right? To get your then gems per dollar metric to see if it's worth it. That's the value analysis for this week. I know it's not necessarily that straightforward, and hopefully I've given you enough information here to go on with and to use to inform yourself as to whether or not you should be buying the packs, right? Like I said, it's not clear cut because everyone's in a different situation in terms of universal crystal shards. Everyone's in a different situation in terms of how many wishing coins you've saved up, right? And that's why I cannot give a blanket, look, each one of these this week is worth an extra X amount of gems. Each one of these this week is worth an extra amount of gems, right? Because as you can see from basically this luckiness area, right? The prizes on a gems per biscuit basis, they vary, right? They vary considerably. It's not uniform. The prizes increase in value up until the 10-star puppet, and then they drop off. So I don't know where you're going to get to in terms of biscuits. Is the other complicating factor. I don't know how many universal crystal shards you intend to use, and I don't even know if you're going to buy this package, right? So there's a lot of what ifs. There's too many what ifs for me to give you a straight answer, but hopefully by taking you through the thinking and as well as providing you some of those numbers, you can go away and do those calculations yourself. I'm always happy to help. If you have a problem and you're stuck in it, and you're trying to if you're wondering whether or not you should buy the pack, by all means reach out and ask. The only other thing that I would mention is, in terms of selecting the heroes, obviously the male heroes, Russell's not there for, I don't know why. It's I would have included Russell, but obviously they still think he's valuable enough that we can stoop all of you. But I've picked a Faith Blade because I'm trying to build a Faith Blade for Aspen Dungeon. Even though I probably don't need him anymore. I don't need any of the other heroes, that's the problem, right? I'm not going to build another Asmodel. You know my feelings on Tara. Darth Moog is useless. So really, I'm just going to get another Faith Blade. Everyone's obviously just going to pick Carey here. I mean, Carey is probably the must-have hero in terms of meta. Here, everyone is probably going to pick Sherlock or Rogan. And here, and you're all probably asking, well, hang on, why do you have it on Penny and not Sia? Surely, with Void coming up, you would have picked Sia. The problem is, I don't know enough about Void right now to know whether or not I definitely need a Sia. All we know so far is that Sia is can be upgraded in the Void to be an even more powerful PvE hero. But it remains to be seen if I need extra power. Like, for example, if I have a knockout PvE team right now, how much of a difference is that going to make? Will it pale in comparison? Will a super PvE team now just, will it not hold a candle to an upgraded Sia? I don't know. And for that matter, do I even want to, say, for example, sacrifice getting, say, a Garuda and build another Garuda, or sacrifice Penny and get my Penny to E1? Yes, I'm rebuilding Penny to finish Fortress, but do I want to sacrifice my optionality in getting either of those heroes to build, to get my first copy of Sia, so then I can get more copies and eventually E5 of Sia, because the Void rewards all of a sudden make PvE and that particular event so useful, right? There's not enough information right now for me to definitively say, yes, Sia is a must-have, because the rewards in Void are so good that I need to start building an E5 Sia. And that's the problem, right? So I'm going to hold up until the last minute. So you can see here, the Reflection Bridge, I'm up to 29. I don't want to finish it until the very last minute, until I find out more information about Void, which hopefully drops this week before the event ends, right? So that's my thinking. It's a free option, guys. There's no benefit right now. There's absolutely no benefit to me in completing this bridge. Whereas if I keep the option open of seeing what the Void event involves and what rewards I get, then, only then, should you be making that decision. It's a free option, guys. When you don't have to make a decision, don't. Because the nature of this game is such that if you can avoid doing things, unless it gives you just such supreme advantage for you to act now at this particular point in time, you should always do things at the last minute, right? So, for example, Imps Monopoly, which we'll talk about next week, you should not buy any packs until you get to the very end and you understand what your star situation is, because only then will you be able to do your incremental analysis. I made the mistake last time on Imps Monopoly of buying the $50 dice pack, simply because I just assumed that, I was going to, by buying that pack alone, I was going to be able to get to 300 stars. I was just completely wrong. I just had a fuck ton of bad luck, and I only just got to 260 stars. I was way under where I expected to be. I should have waited until the very end to buy that pack. And so that's the same thing with a situation like this, right? Don't complete this first bridge, or this bottom bridge, this reflection bridge, until you know what Void looks like. Because you might realize, well, hang on, my Delacium army is more powerful than having a Seer there, so I'm just not going to bother with building an E5 Seer, right? So that's the takeaway in terms of hero selection and whether or not you should finish the bridge. Anyway, a bit of a long one this week. Obviously, it was warranted because it's hard to explain everything. Hope you found that useful, and good luck for the event. Thanks, and have a great weekend.